What's going on, my peoples? We back for another one, man. Today I'm tackling the topic of cancel culture. To start off, I don't have a problem with cancel culture, the idea of cancel culture. You know, it wants to be inclusive, it wants to be non-offensive to marginalized groups and so on. I understand that, and I'm for that. I'm not really against that. But the way that we use cancel culture is an issue. The way that we use cancel culture is non-inclusive in my perspective, in my belief. And here's why. So, to all my minority brothers and sisters out there and my peoples who've been raised in underserved communities, we all know that we were raised in households where people just said it how it was. People were more blunt, people were more honest, and they just said how it was, and it may have been offensive, and we may have probably laughed at our crazy uncle that's always saying the funny shit, but it's kind of offensive at the same time, right? That's my problem right there with cancel culture. Cancel culture does not take in the perspectives that these people are raised in these communities where these communities form them to be kind of offensive, kind of more blunt, kind of more rude, kind of more say how it is at the expense of you being offended. But that doesn't mean that they're bad people. We grew up with a lot of family members and friends and older uncles and aunties, and they were never bad people, but they said things that in today's world will be quote unquote society. But with cancel culture, I believe that cancel culture is a part of mainstream society, and you got everything outside of mainstream society, you know, like the hood, that's outside of mainstream society. You know, all these underserved communities, they are outside of mainstream society. You go to these communities and you live around these people, you're gonna see that, okay, they don't think like mainstream society thinks. So the problem is, it's going to be hard for you to get these people to assimilate to mainstream society, because as soon as they come in, they're going to come in them authentic self, which y'all want to be inclusive on. But as soon as they say something offensive, or as soon as they say something that they would have said in their own communities, you cancel them out. You label them. So now, if they're a person who takes any pride of who they are, they're going to quote unquote stand on business. And they're going to be like, well, screw you. I'm going back to my community with my peoples, and I'm not changing at all. I don't have to adapt, you know? And now you lost a potential ally who could have came in and would have been more inclusive and more open-minded. But no, we canceled them out because they said something. My whole take on just speech is this: talk is cheap. They say it all the time, man. Talk is cheap, but what you gonna do about it? Actions show more than me than what you say, because like I said, I even come from an underserved minority community where the same people who were saying this and that, they never was bad people. You know, they never was people that were out there doing bad things, hurting people, you know, out there just being a menace to society. They were just talking, you know. So that's why the whole saying talk is cheap, that's why that holds some weight, because just because a person said something, bro, that don't mean this person is a bad person. This person been taking care of his family. This person, you know, is a good role model. You know, she feed the kids, you know, whatever, you know. The actions show more than the words, because people can change their words all the time. You know, people change who they are, their thoughts on life, all type of stuff. So the point I'm trying to make is my issue that cancel culture, we wouldn't allow these people to come in to mainstream society, and you kind of are blocking them off from mainstream society, because we don't allow people to have, you know, make mistakes, trip over words. You know, we try to say, oh, we're going to hold you accountable, but once we counsel you, that's not holding you accountable. That's just saying you're done, buddy. You're done, you know? So I just think that it don't take in the perspectives of the minority community, because I have a host of friends from the Hispanics to the blacks to the immigrants to the Asians. I've met a lot of people, and we all have something in like, and it's all like, man, we just be saying shit how it is sometimes. Even some of the country white people that I met, they even say shit how it is, And it's kind of crazy, but like people actions don't show that they bad people. It's like, bro, show me what type of guy you is, and then I'll label you accordingly. You could be talking all day, man. You know, talk is cheap, but what you gonna do about it? You know, so like, I just think we need to take in that perspective. If cancel culture wants to be quote unquote inclusive, let's be inclusive in the perspectives that these people are raised in more blunt, edgy environments. So they're going to probably kind of bring that with them when they assimilate into mainstream society. It happened for me. I was from Detroit, Michigan. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I'm really from Highland Park, Michigan. It's a city inside of Detroit, Michigan. But I'm basically a Detroit dude because we all damn near act the same. We was raised the same. So I come from Detroit, right? I moved to college, Northern Michigan. This school, most of these kids come from the suburbs. Some of them come from the country. Some of them come from the hood. You know, it's a mix of thing. But at the school, it's a whole different way in here. So, you know, I'm like, okay, I need to assimilate. Because I can't be bringing the full Detroit way that I was back in the city. I can't bring all that here, you know? But if I would have got canceled, those first few, you know, years I was up there, if I would have got canceled by people and I would have got thrown outside of the college society, I just said, forget it. I'm going back home. I ain't here no more. But luckily, you know, I was accepted, you know, real popular. I had a lot of friends. You know, it was just a good time up there. And with doing that, I was like, you know what? I want to change. I want to like learn the Youper ways. You know, I want to like, let me kind of take on, you know, y'all perspectives on stuff, you know? But if they would have X'd me out, I'd have been like, oh no, screw y'all. Forget y'all. I don't care. I'm HP. I'm Wade. I'm Detroit Wade. I would have been like that. But they didn't do that. But, you know, the point I'm trying to make is I assimilated into what the college world was training us for the mainstream society. I think most colleges train kids to kind of assimilate to mainstream society because most of the stuff we all fight for is kind of the similar issues, I think. But yeah, man, it's like, you know, you got to take in the perspectives of these communities that are underserved. Like, that's why some of these kids don't even care about politics, and they don't even care about, you know, all what's going on and who said what, you know, because like life is so real and hard for them on the ground level somewhere else. They don't got time to be labeling somebody, you know. They fighting for their life, man. They struggling. They trying to take care of their families, their peoples and all this. So, you know, it's like that perspective is never taken into consideration when we out here trying to just cancel people. It's like, y'all think these people are educated on these issues and they have the resources to be in these positions of where they learn how to be media trained and they're not saying anything highly offensive, you know? Like, you're out your mind, bro. Y'all out your mind, and y'all need to understand that y'all the ones that don't have the real perspective on all of the communities in this big old melting pot that we call America. You know, if you live in a white affluent community, that's cool. I'm not giving no shade to you, but like, have you really, outside of just hearing stuff on TV, reading a book, have you actually experienced it on the ground level? Have you been in these communities and lived in them though? Like, I spent time living in different communities where I had to learn, like, oh my God, these perspectives are different. But have the people at the top, have y'all been on the ground level and lived there? Not like, oh, I drove through there a few times, or I stopped at a gas station or something. I was a little nervous, but you feel me? But like, have we been on the ground level where it's like, man, this dude saying some wild shit, but this dude a good guy though. This dude get up every day. You know, he take the trash out. He walk the kids to school or something. You know, this lady always making sure the kids on the block fed, but she always cussing. She always saying this, and you know, have y'all been on them ground levels in them communities to be like, man, okay, it's different on these communities. So if you want to be inclusive, you need to be inclusive with that perspective that like, okay, these people coming from these different backgrounds, communities, we need to be cautious on canceling them. We need to be cautious on trying to point the finger at them because this is what they know. This is what they was raised around. They wasn't raised Ivy League teachers around them and mom sent them to private school and all that. They wasn't raised around none of that. So they're not going to be so educated and, you know, so well spoken and non-offensive like the people at the top are, you know? And I think that perspective right there with cancel culture is missing, dog. And I think that is the issue that we have with it. Once we realize that like everyone's not going to talk like us, but that don't mean they're bad people, then when these people come around, they're gonna be like, okay, now I learned the experience on the mainstream level. Now I see how people move and shake, you know? And then you start to get more allies, and I think then we can start to move with the progressive cancel culture where it's like, okay, Brody, you can't be saying that, you know? But yeah, that's just my take on it, y'all. I want y'all to know, like, yeah, it's the way we're going about cancel culture, man. It's the way we're going about it. We quick to point the finger, we quick to do that, but we don't understand that these people come from a community where they come from generations of this embedded into them. And y'all just expect them to change overnight? No, they're not. You gotta give people love before you can teach them how to do that. You can't put your views on people and tell somebody, oh, you can't say that. Especially, you know, I think that the minority communities, I feel like they would definitely feel that, like, oh, I hate to say this, man, I feel like if a white person tell a minority person what they can't say, they're gonna just be like, man, be quiet. Of anybody, you telling me what to say, you know? And it's like, I'm trying to give y'all some advice that like maybe y'all should understand that like these people are going to be more edgier. They're going to probably make a little more offensive jokes in their private sectors, but that don't mean they're bad people, you know? When you bring them into the mainstream society, just let them know, teach them, educate them, you know, let them know, yo, this isn't, you know, this kind of ain't cool. And over time, you'll probably see growth. You'll see growth over time, but once you don't show nobody no love and you give them the hard cold shoulder, you're only going to push them into more of who they are. They're never going to want to assign to the belief systems that y'all have on the mainstream level. I'm a dude who I feel like I live in the mainstream life now, just with most of the people I work with, you know, people that I associate myself with. But every time I go back home, home is not mainstream. Home is underserved. Home is minority and underprivileged. And it's so different. Every time I go home, somebody's saying something that if you had a camera and you put it on YouTube and you had them saying, they'd probably be canceled, you know? So I just think that's the issue with it. And I think, you know, once we really open our perspective, then we will understand that, like, man, these people, this is how they talk, this is how they move, you know? Like, in order for them to change their ways, we can't cold shoulder them, you know? So, you know, how open-minded are you, really, you know, when it comes to that? Like, are you really perspective? Are you really well-rounded in your perspectives? Or are you really just stuck in your own glass bubble where you just, you know, you only believe in what you think, you know, you only believe that. Anyways, I'm losing myself right now trying to explain this to y'all, but that's the whole point I'm trying to say, guys, man. If we want to be inclusive with cancel culture, man, you have to understand and take the perspectives of the minority and underprivileged communities. They're more edgier, they're more blunt, they're gonna say it how it is, but they don't mean they bad people. So let's not be so quick to point the finger. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, man, leave some comments. Let me know what y'all think about this video. We did a different take today, man. So I wanted to put this idea out there into the masses. See what y'all got to say, man. So leave a comment, leave a like, share it. Let me know what you think. Until next time.